everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Councilmember Amanda Farias, and I represent District 18 of the Southeast Bronx, which encompasses the Zurriga IBZ. I'm excited to be with all of you here today. I'm proud to be here today with my council colleague, Councilmember Gutierrez. We're also joined by Council Members Nurse, Williams, and Lewis, and amazing advocates, to announce an important and long overdue legislation we have worked on, which puts a much needed spotlight on how important our industrial zones are citywide. Our industrial workforce is a workforce of majority immigrants and people of color. As you can see here, the majority of our IBZs are in Black, Latino, and AAPI communities, including many of the neighborhoods that all of us here represent. When we protect industrial business zones and industrial jobs, we are also protecting the working class and our working families. The industrial workforce runs our city and deserves support and recognition from our citywide leaders. This legislation will require several of our city agencies to collaborate on a citywide industrial development action plan so that our workforce has a successful transition to the green economy, our local economies are supported, and our supply chain is efficient and resilient. This legislation also ensures we comprehensively look at the communities. When planning how to protect, enhance, and develop community, we need plans of action around infrastructure needs, environmental issues, workforce pipelines, and so much more. Our IBZs have been overlooked for decades, and it is no surprise to me that two Latinas born and raised in the city are taking on a cause that has been so ignored. We are finally giving this issue the attention it deserves, and it will have a huge impact on our communities. The legislation we have announced today follows a national trend set by President Joe Biden to strengthen domestic workforces, supply chains, and the green economy in packages such as Inflation Reduction Act and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Deal. This is a moment for New York City to be ahead of the curve and lead on an issue our president has made a priority for this country. I'm proud to be the prime sponsor on this bill with Councilmember Gutierrez. I look forward to working with my council colleagues, our borough presidents, and advocates to advance this plan for industrial business zones citywide. And I'll now call on my colleague, Councilmember Gutierrez, to speak.
Thank you, Amanda. Buenos dias. My name is Jennifer Gutierrez. I represent Bushwick, Williamsburg, and Ridgewood, and I also have the privilege of representing the third largest IBZ in the city of New York. And to echo a lot of what my colleague Amanda Farias said, it is a really, really exciting time to be leading this coalition amongst, if you notice, other women of color who not just necessarily have IBCs in their district, but who care about this economy in a deeper and more profound way. What we do know is that the last time the city ever looked at any kind of zoning was in 1961. That is 60 years of us making zero change to support New Yorkers, to support housing, to support our economy. And we need to do this now. This bill will call for an industrial study across all 5 boroughs to support those industrial sectors. Every single day we hear from New Yorkers who share stories about how their parents came here. Their first job was in a factory in the IBZ. Their grandparents started a business in an IBZ. And here we are in 2023, when we know that before the pandemic, we saw significant growth in manufacturing when we had previously seen a large decline, and we are now willing to invest in proper planning in this industrial zone. What this plan will do, it will focus on growth opportunities. We need to invest where we see the growth. We cannot continue to turn a blind eye. It'll also invest in infrastructure. The plan will hopefully also call for an investment to infrastructure. We have more and more people working in these jobs. We must also marry the fact that they need to get there safely, whether that's investing in transportation infrastructure, making it safer for workers to get there. And then lastly is the environmental piece. It does not escape us that the state of New York has ambitious goals to meet our climate justice guidelines by 2040, and the industrial area has to play a part. And so calling for this bill and mandating that the DCP, along with EDC and SBS, put together a plan to meet all of these criteria. And like Councilmember Farias said, this matters to us, not just because we care about the economy, but we care about the people that we represent. The amount of people that we represent that are able to walk to work. The amount of people that we know that have been able to make a livable wage working manufacturing jobs, sending their kids to college for the first time, buying their first home. That happened to residents in Bushwick and in Williamsburg and in Greenpoint and throughout the city. There is value to that. Manufacturing jobs, more than any other industry, have low barriers to entry and ascension. And that means you don't need a college degree. That means you don't need an advanced degree. You can learn on the job and you can make a decent wage and you can support your family. And isn't that a New York that we can all support, that we can all get behind? So we're calling on the city to make this bill a reality so that we can support all of our industrial business zones that deserve it. If it's not just for the economy, it's for the Black and brown and immigrant New Yorkers that we all represent. We want to uplift our economy comprehensively, and this plan is going to make sure that the city does that. So I'm really proud to stand with Councilmember Farias. I'm really glad she asked me to co-sponsor this bill, as well as standing in partnership with so many of our colleagues here who are a part of a much broader coalition to support manufacturing zones and retain jobs. And you guys are going to see a lot more from this city council than ever before when we're talking about industrial jobs. So I'm also really proud to make sure that all of y'all get that message today. So I think to move on with the run of show, next I want to call up, do you have Councilmember Sandy Nurse, my neighbor in Bushwick. Come on up.
Good morning, good afternoon. I think it's still morning. I just want to thank Council Members Farias and Councilmember Gutierrez. I'm really, I'm in a privileged position to get to share a neighborhood with Councilmember Gutierrez. We get to collaborate a lot, and that I get to work with Councilmember Farias on economic development where we can. I'm really proud to be a part of co-sponsoring, signing on, advocating for this plan. I represent East New York, Brownsville, Cypress Hills, and we have the East New York IBZ there. It's not that big, but it's small but mighty. Small but mighty.
All industrial.
And I was at a meeting recently where somebody said about the IBZ that all of these jobs will be obsolete. This area is obsolete. And that really upset me because I refuse to accept that. I refuse to accept statements like that completely erase the foundation that industrial and manufacturing sectors have provided for our community in East New York. These are thriving wages, these are careers. These aren't just temporary jobs, these aren't stepping stone jobs. These are careers where there's a high level of skill and expertise and craft that are put into producing all sorts of things that have built this city. And so when someone says something like the industrial and manufacturing sectors are obsolete or will be obsolete, it's a lack of vision. It's a lack of planning. And I think we're at a moment where thankfully the federal government is providing resources for infrastructure. We're at a moment where we can take those dollars and put them into shovel-ready visions for our city to preserve and protect our industrial and manufacturing spaces. So I'm very thrilled to be a part of this. I'm excited to be on board. I'm in particular looking forward to investing in green industry, green manufacturing, things that move us forward into the future, into meeting the climate crises, into developing the workforce that can help us meet those goals. And I'm really looking forward to that work. So thank you to Councilmember Farias, Gutierrez, and everyone there. Thank you for bringing us all together to push for this, and to all the advocates who really work very hard to push forth ideas about how to preserve these spaces. Thank you so much.
Before I call up our next colleague, I also just want to acknowledge our speaker, Adrian Adams, who I think for the first time in my memory was the speaker that mentioned support for manufacturing zones in her state of the city. And that felt very powerful for a representative like myself, and I'm sure many of us here who have for a long time said we care about these zones, but we need to see real work being done. And I just want to acknowledge her and her team because that feels very transformative for me, and I'm really excited to continue to work with her team. Next up, I want to call up Councilmember Farrah Lewis. Brooklyn heavy today.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Councilmember Lewis. I represent the 45th Council District that has the Flatlands Fairfield IBZ. I'm very happy to be here today with our bill sponsors, Councilmember Farias and Gutierrez, and I want to thank you both for your leadership on this bill. I know you've been working very hard on M-Zone, so I want to thank you for your leadership. New York City is a hub of innovation, and industrial needs are always changing. I'm so proud to support the Citywide Industrial Development Action Plan as a firm believer that working together is the key to our city's success. With this bill, it requires 3 agencies to collaborate and create an interagency response and produce a holistic plan that analyzes the nuances of economic and environmental trends to ensure our city's industrial economy grows and provides job opportunities for all New Yorkers. The city's current lack of a comprehensive plan for industrial development holds us back from reaching our potential, since our industrial sector is a vital resource to New York City. It's an engine of opportunity for our many businesses and families as we face a climate crisis. The industrial sector is critical for New Yorkers that are transitioning away from fossil fuels to green energy. This industrial development action plan will provide us with a roadmap to making our economy more inclusive and sustainable. And I am proud to support this legislation, and my colleagues, the bosses of M Zones and IBZs, who recognize this issue and is leading this effort. We can truly become the city of yes, and the city of yes to economic growth, the city of yes for jobs, and yes to access of opportunity for all with this bill. Thank you,
Farah. All right, next up, again from Brooklyn. It's not by accident, y'all, but that's okay. Our coalition reaches a lot further than our Brooklyn members. Obviously, we have Councilmember Natasha here from Queens. I also represent Queens, but I want to call up Councilmember Alexa Aviles, District 38.
Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or what time of day it is.
Why is everyone so tired?
Good morning. It's like Rally 28. My name is Councilmember Alexa Aviles, yes, representing District 38, that includes Red Hook and Sunset Park. We are home to one of the largest industrial manufacturing zones in New York City, a very active zone that has supported our community. We have been a walk to work community for many years, and we are here to support an intentional, explicit policy changes that strengthen and protect our industrial manufacturing zone. Yes, industrial manufacturing is not what it was 30 years ago. We understand that, and that is an old relic argument. But we are here to say that we want to protect, we must, as a city, protect these zones. Also, we are not only protecting them, but strengthening them and making sure that they are industrial manufacturing zones that address climate change, right? That ensure that we are leading the way in using these important areas to ensure that we are doing green manufacturing, right? That we are doing and supporting efforts that actually lead to sustainable, healthy communities, as opposed to, you know, the ongoing kind of toxic ways of the past. So I'm proudly supporting green reindustrialization, supporting strengthening and protecting industrial zones for what they are. They are not a relic of the past. They are very much here, and they are so important for our economic infrastructure to make sure that you can make things here. If COVID showed us anything, it is certainly how important these sectors are. We can, we do, we make things here. We need these sectors to be protected and to eliminate all the forest uses that we see that are really corrosive in these sectors. So I'm so glad to stand here in solidarity with the council members and making sure that we move this forward. We move into a green future with frontline communities leading the way. We have bore the impacts of pollutant burdens, and we have the solutions that we are proposing to move forward. So follow the frontline communities, green reindustrialization, protect our industrial manufacturing waterfronts. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alexa. Thank you so much to our colleagues who continue to stand in solidarity. And next we want to bring up the advocates, the folks that have been doing this work on the ground for many, many years, the folks that have been collaborating with each and every administration when they have attempted to take on planning for manufacturing. They have stood the test of time, and we are here because of them. First up, I want to call Christopher Casey from ANHD.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, I have prepared remarks, so bear with me.
No, we appreciate it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Christopher Casey, and I'm the Senior Campaign Organizer for the Association for Neighborhoods and Housing Development, or ANHD for short. ADHD works with our members, community-based organizations across New York City, to build community power, to win affordable housing and thriving, equitable neighborhoods for all New Yorkers. I am so honored today to be joined by many of the leaders of this great city, some of whom are here, some of whom are not, that's okay, like Councilwoman Ferreras and Gutierrez, and all the champions for the industrial sector in our city. I'm also really honored to stand in solidarity with many of the organizations that advocate every day for a stronger and healthier and more equitable and just New York. But more than anything, I am thrilled to stand today with the coalition ADHD is not only a member of, but helps facilitate. And that would be the Industrial Jobs Coalition. For those folks here, just raise your hand to let them know you are. Our coalition, I love these folks. Our coalition advocates for many things. But at the heart of everything that we do is to ensure our city remains a place where we make things, and in the process create good paying, stable, and full-time jobs that do not require a college degree. The majority of industrial jobs are held by BIPOC New Yorkers, many of these jobs don't require advanced degrees, and the average pay scale is significantly higher than the service sector. So if you're a New Yorker who longs for a city that advances racial, economic, and housing justice, I encourage you to join our effort to support this good bill. Should this bill become law, New York City will do something it hasn't done in a very long time. Create actual plans that encourage our city to protect and expand and revitalize the industrial sector. And if we do that, and pair this with long-needed changes to the council and that our council and our coalition are seeking in terms of zoning to preserve industrial land for industrial uses, more of our marginalized community members will find the kind of jobs they need to sustain themselves and their families. And our city will have the space and the investment needed to supply a healthier and more sustainable economy. And if that happens, literally every New Yorker will benefit. We commend the Speaker, members of the Council, their staffs, and everyone gathered today for this forward-looking and proactive bill. Thank you so much. All right, so we're now going to hear from Maria.
Good morning, everyone. Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Micaela Skovnich, and I'm with Southwest Brooklyn Industrial Development Corporation. SBIDC is a non-profit organization that since 1978 has been working to create equal opportunity for the people, the businesses, and the community of Southwest Brooklyn. We help people build careers and businesses thrive in the working waterfronts of Sunset Park, Red Hook, and Gowanus. SBIDC is a proud member of the Industrial Jobs Coalition, as the many speakers that you guys have heard today. We want to thank Speaker Adams and Councilwoman Gutierrez for bringing industrial policy to the forefront with this legislation. It's exciting to see the city make proactive efforts to comprehensively plan for its industrial zones. For SBIDC and the many industrial businesses and workers in Southwest Brooklyn, we believe that re-examining our vision for the IBC can help achieve economic development goals, greening the industrial sector, strengthening our infrastructure. Comprehensive industrial plans require assessing dated zoning regulations that hinder the ability of industrial businesses to grow, making infrastructure investment, and updating the city incentives, examining what works and what doesn't. Support the industrial business service providers such as SBIDC, such as Evergreen here, and many of our other partners, so that businesses can continue to receive high-quality services. We applaud the Speaker and Council for considering this important legislation, and we look forward to being an ongoing thought partner along with the other members of the coalition so we can support industrial growth in New York City. Thank you.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you very much for being here.
right. Natalie?
You got your link. You cut it. Yeah, exactly.
And constituents always matter more.
Thank you, Natalie. Yeah, thank you, Natalie. I'm so sorry.
That's real. Oh, come on.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Natalie Wisniewski, and I'm from Evergreen. Evergreen is a nonprofit industrial economic development corporation located in North Brooklyn and a member of the Industrial Jobs Coalition. Evergreen's underlying mission is to grow and retain good quality working class jobs in our community by supporting businesses in the industrial manufacturing sector. I would like to thank all the council members here for sponsoring this bill and for supporting our efforts, as well as Speaker Adams and particularly Councilwoman Gutierrez's office for organizing this event today. If the Industrial Development Action Plan legislation is passed, we hope this will be a catalyst